How's it going, fam? Yes. As you can see, we back with another one. Much ahab to the tribe, much ahab out to everybody. As you know, I always appreciate your frequency, your vibration. Definitely appreciate you choosing to come out here and rock with your boy. Today we're gonna be touching on something specific. You can say that I was inspired by something that I saw. You know, I'm not gonna dig into, what it is or what it was. If you've seen it, then you know what I'm referring to. Because in the end, it's all just for informational purposes, right? We all just are digging, trying to find out, right, the best solution possible. We're always trying to find out the best way we can help our brothers and sisters. So I know, and by saying that, this is pretty much just for informational purposes. So this is just for the tribe. All right, this is for everybody that that's digging, that's vibing, that chooses to press play. Much ahab out there to my indigenous family, to all the fan digging for that indigenous truth. Much ahab to my Autochtthons. Much ahab to the tribe, to Israel. And yeah, as I said, I was basically inspired, not in a necessary response, but I just thought, I'll offer some notes, my personal notes, if that's okay, with y'all, with the tribe. I noticed that, we tend to see things, and even though we may not necessarily understand where it's coming from or be a part of it directly, it affects us no matter what, and we are all a part of it. So with that said, this had nothing to do with me in particular, but it has everything to do with me in the whole, right, in general. And for those who feel the same, this is for you. Alright, so much ahab out there to everybody, and I hope y'all doing well. I hope everything is peaceful. I hope your vibe is A1 with the creator, and yeah, I just really hope everybody's doing well. I like to thank everybody for the vibe and just your appreciation with the last drop. We're gonna continue on. I don't want to take up too much time. I actually didn't even plan on doing this. I just did this at the spur of the moment for y'all. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and dig into it. I just wanted to share the link, that I use on digging on the personal, for my personal research on the Hebrew alphabet, right? On the language. And I'm sure we've seen this before, right? And I like it because it pretty much, by far has been the most hijacked free, source of Hebrew from the hieroglyph itself. Alright, so yeah, fam, it served a great purpose, and I'm just gonna share some notes with y'all, if you don't mind. I want to dig on Hawa for a bit. Alright, now I'm not saying, you know, it's in my necessity, you know, to necessarily bring anything to light, but I'm just going to share, you know, my 2 cents on it, my notes, my stance. Alright? I know how it can be when you're seeing something that, you know, you can research, and maybe when you research the first time you came across something that stood out to you, and it made you think twice, right? And maybe you save notes from that research just in case, right? Of a certain time ever were to pop up, you had something formidable, right? Something presentable that you can go ahead and have as your version of tangible evidence. And that's all good, because when we research, that's what we're supposed to do. So I commend everybody that does that, and I commend everybody that brings, you know, information from their heart to the forefront, to the tribe, you know, to be dissected and reviewed no matter what. So much Ha, much love. And with that being said, I like to highlight the first word we're seeing right here, dealing with the Ha, right? The Ha. Now, I know it has an E with the H, and people might say hey, but hey or Ha, alright? And I just want you guys to dig on that, because we have the symbology, right, or the letter that would indicate this sound, right next to it to the left. And as we see right here to the right, it means the breath, right? So when we say Ha, right, it's just simply the breath. I mean, even as you sit there and you say it amongst yourself, right? Simply Ha, right? That's the breath within itself. And I'll leave the link, of course, in the description box, you know, for you to come across and, you know, use for yourself and review it. Yeah, so basically, I just wanted to highlight in its most ancient, you know, original form from the Semitic hieroglyph, right, that was recovered and studied. This information that was presented, this Ha lettering, right, or sound, is the actual letter in Paleo Hebrew, right? We're digging on the alphabet, right? So yeah, ancient name, right? So this is why I like this as a source. So as I was saying, we're digging on Ha, simply put, right, for the breath, right? Just straight up. And as you see, it's telling us that, you know, its definition, its meaning is breath, simply. So it's simply to breathe, right? And below we have what would seem as Vav, but it's not. When we're dealing with the paleo, right? When we're dealing with the paleo, right? Like that paleo Autochthon, right? The paleo, right? The ancient, right? It's Wa. And that Wa sound, right, as you can see by the symbols, is backed by a feather. Now it has many different meanings, right? But, you know, we can take away from simplicity in hieroglyph format and by ancient Hebraic lettering, right? No hijack, right? We don't see no dots, right? We're not dealing with none of that, right? No Yiddish, right? So as we see it, it says Waw, right? And it's saying that it's a feather, okay? So, yeah, fam, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dig on this for a bit, and I hope you guys find the information, informative, and much hop to the tribe. When we put this together, right, we have Hawa, alright, the breath and the feather. Now, dealing with this indigenous truth, right, you being the Autochthon, right, you dealing with that memory source, right, as you basically restore your connectivity with the creator, right. He establishes your connectivity back to the land, right. And as you start to wake up and remember as the Autochthon, right, as the so-called Negro, which is also the so-called Indian, right, as the copper-colored races that was originally found here in America, right? Feather also dealt with the breath, right? Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and dig some. So according to Wikipedia, right, this is Ha, right? Now they put hey as in like he, but we're gonna rock with the Ha, right? The breath, right? The Ha, right? Because this is what we're digging on, right? And this is just for, informative purposes, right? For the fam to do their breakdown and have all round, awareness, right? From my side notes, that is. And so we got Ha, right? And it's the fifth letter on, the Semitic, I'm assuming would be the alphabet, right? And it says that it includes the Phoenician, the Hebrew, the Aramaic, and the Syriac, right? And Arabic. It also says that it's a Proto-Canaanite letter, right? Which gave rise to the Greek letter E, which would basically, from the Greek letter and the Latin letter E, which would basically become the E that we use, right, as a vowel. And they said that this basically represents that vowel sound, right? So Ha, or so-called Hey itself, is not a vowel, but it can be used to represent such. Alright? So as we see, they give us an example, right, for its origin, which is in the northwest Semitic area. Now, they don't say where necessarily, as you can see, other than so-called Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? Notice there's no Africa or nothing like that, right? So we're just going to, roll with the Proto-Northwest Semitic or Shemitic, right? And as you see, they have the height accent to it, right? As you see it. So it further proves that in its origin, the lettering of the Ha letter is, it has its pronunciation in Ha before He. Alright? I think they, I'm pretty sure they added that He for the Yiddish to help them, with their pronunciation, right? And as you get into various different languages and breakdown, it switches. The root of the word switches. All right, so it becomes, or it goes away from the high into the he, and it comes even back in Phoenician. So Phoenician, being a Canaanite, right, is a copycat. right? And yeah, so we see right here it says the hasir. So even here, right, it's still the ha, as in the breath. So even when you say ha, you can feel the breath, right? Now this is function in Arabic. In Arabic, the hay is also pronounced as the ha, and is also used as a suffix indicating possession. Alright, so when it's indicating possession, the noun attached to the suffix belongs to a specific masculine possessor. It is also read as ah, right? Ah, as you can see it, it's also read as ah. Now, if we remember in the Shemitic, right, it's actually from right to left. Y'all see that? So if you're attaching the ha as a suffix, right, and you're ending it in the abbreviation form, and that's if we're using the Arabic rules to the term, it's actually a masculine form of possession, not feminine, right? So according to the rules in Arabic, when you use ha as a suffix, you know, indicating the noun, it shows a specific masculine possessor. Alright? And that's in the Arabic ruling, alright, in the format and function of that language. Alright? In Hebrew, we're dealing with the pronunciation, right? Now we're going to skip all of this pretty much because this is dealing with the modern Hebrew. Alright? And as we dig right here, right, we're able to focus. Hold on the ancient name, right? So we're dealing with the ancient. We don't need to cross-reference with the modern, right? When you dig on the modern Hebrew, it just puts you into more confusion, right? And they have to add things like the gammats and all these other different points to pronunciate it, right? Which is where they get this matter lectionist, right? This mater lectionist, right? We're gonna dig on that in a little bit. I just want you guys to see that basically the sound ha is also a letter. All right, it's also a letter. Now when we check out this tab, right, the mater lectionis, right, it's telling you in Latin this is the mothers of reading, right? Excuse me. It's the mothers of reading. Now it's from the Latin, right? So we got to keep in mind, fam, that if it's not stemming from the Hebraic language in its most ancient raw form, it's 99.7% most likely hijacked. Alright? And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, they're not going to give us full-blown access to the ancient Hebraic language, right? That's something we have to really go through and surf for, right? And while we're surfing, right, we have to really engulf yourself into the language itself in its pure form, right? That way, by practicing, right, from the ancient standpoint, it becomes regular. And when it becomes regular, the wavelength then connects you back to the original creator of that language, right? So borrowing examples and definitions from other languages that basically were used or that were borrowed from the original ancient Hebrew for its creation in the first place. Alright? We're gonna dig on this scripture real quick. It's simple, right? I just want to remind, my fam, right? Genesis 11, verse 1. It's Genesis 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime, and had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto the heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man builded. And the Most High said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down there and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Most High scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Most High did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence the Most High scattered them abroad the face of all the earth. Alright. And for those that, dig in the Apocrypha, right? That do that Apocrypha reading, we understand and we know, right, that through the decisions of Eber and Peleg, right, that it was only the Hebrews that retained the language. I mean, yeah, fam, you gotta understand. We retained our memories, our information, right? We had our documents, right? So all this hijack is really those trying to decipher and say what their perception is as they attempt to come back to the source. But see, as the children, right, as the keepers of that covenant, right, as the Most High allows us, as He chooses us, right, to awake, and we get our search on, right, and we pull out that shovel and we start to dig, right, and we come across this ancient original form of the Hebraic language, right, His truth is revealed to us. But it takes time, fam. It takes patience. These things take patience. And as his children, it's up to us to dig through this, right? And to break it down. So, we read for ourselves, right? Now, it says, because the scripts used to write some Shemitic languages lack vowel letters, unambiguous reading of a text might be difficult. Therefore, to indicate vowels, mostly long consonant letters are used. For example, in the Hebrew construct state from bet, meaning the house of, the middle letter in the spelling acts as a vowel, but in corresponding absolute state form, bayet, house. Alright, so you see how they're showing you the example, the bet from the bayet sound, right? It's really the bayet, but they put the bet in there for them. Alright. It says the earliest method of indicating some vowels in Hebrew writing was to use the consonant letters Yah, Waw, Ha, and Aleph, right, of the Hebrew alphabet, to also write long vowels in some cases. Originally, these two letters were only at the end of words, and I, or whatever this letter would be, right, were used mainly to write the original diphthongs, right, as well as original vowel sequences. It says, if words can be written with or without the metric lectionis, spellings that include the letters are called melee, right? Hebrew or plene, Latin meaning full, and spellings without them are called haser or defective. So they don't even use your ancient Hebrew, fam. You just read it yourself. They call your ancient language defective. Oh, you think this is a game? You think I just decided to come talk to you for no reason, fam? I got a high for y'all. And due to the whole, right, that is Israel, this indigenous truth, right, I was able to fully awake, right, fam? And that love, right, that aha that the Most High gave to me, it made me tribal, fam. It made me tribal. So I do this because, yes, I have aha, but I'm also tribal with this. Natural by law. The law, right? If you don't refer to the law naturally, what do you do? Who are you? And I'm not talking about this man-made law. I'm talking about the law that governs man. The law that man works with, in unison with. I mean, how else can man establish himself? Right? Naturally, as in the Autochthon, right? Indigenous, right? Occurring naturally, right? By way of the Most High. All praises due. So, we just read, right, fam? They call your ancient Hebrew defective. Now, here we see in Arabic, there is no such choice. So in Arabic, they have to use this mater lectionis, right? They have no choice. So anything coming out of the Arabs' language is what? Heathen. It's heathenistic, right? Now, we could use it as a source to back up what is Hebrew, right? But it has to be non-hijacked. It has to be hijack free. Because if you're bringing something of hijack origin that's not from the source, right? And you're trying to compare it back to it, right? Your messages is not going to be the same, fam. They just told you there's two different rules to this, right? It says usage in Hebrew. Most commonly, Yod indicates I or E, while Wa, see, indicates O or U. So we're talking about what, fam? Action, right? So that Hawa is what? That action, right? It's the action of breathing. It's the action of being you. Because the breath is not yours, fam. Right? The breath is not yours. So, Wa is simply indicating the action, right? And we say Hawa, right? And we're learning that the Ha is the breath, right? It is the breath. The Wa, right, we see here is the feather, right? And we're digging on what? On action, right? It says the Aleph was not systematically developed as a mater lectionist, right, in Hebrew, unlike in Aramaic and Arabic, but is occasionally used to indicate a vowel. Alright? So they created these little points for their pronunciation so that they can go ahead and incorporate your language according to their usage, which is still a mistranslation, fam. So it's still highly incorrect. Alright? I mean, they can't even tell you where it starts because they said that what is discreditable, right? Where did we see it? They said it's defective. If you don't use their rules, it's defective, right? So that's for that, right? Now when we go back to the Ha, right, we can dig on the significance of Ha, right, which is the breath, right? So Ha is of the breath, right? It says that Ha symbolizes the number 5. When used at the beginning of Hebrew years, it means 5,000, right? When attached to words, Ha may have 3 possible meanings. 3 possible. Alright, so let's just dig on the possibility. Alright? And it says, it exists as a preposition, meaning the definite article, the, or the relative pronouns, that or who, as in a boy who reads, who, right? Or that, right? See that Ha? Says a prefix indicating that the sentence is a question. For example, you knew Hayadada? Did you know? It says third, a suffix after place names indicating movement, right? I just said that, right? Towards the given noun. So we're talking about movement, right? That was the whole point, right? Where is it? Why? Right? We're talking about the movement. See? Indicating movement, right? Towards the given noun. So it's a form of action in the ancient paleo, right? As a paleo autochthon, you should be able to feel this in the vibration and the frequency, right? Now, if we're going to keep it real, there is no yeah, right? No yeah. Because even when you say it, right? Yeah. It's an aggression, right? That's what Sister Yisrael Redemption said, right? The yeah is an aggression. So we would say what? Ha, right? Harushalayama. Harushalayama. Harushalayam, right? Harushalam. Now notice they pronounce the ma at the end, right? That ah, giving it a suffix. This is still ha. Don't get it twisted, fam. Alright? Harushalayama. 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 Hawa. Alright? Even fake ass Judaism, right? They still use the Hashem, right? So this is the significance of Ha, right, fam? Which in its ancient form is that of the breath, right? From the ancient Hebraic hieroglyphs. This is what we're reading. We're not reading someone's version of modern Yiddish, right? We're looking at the version of the Hebraic form that was translated and derived from the hieroglyph. Oh yeah, we're gonna continue to dig, fam. Right? Because we just digging off the simplicity in things, right? We don't have to borrow from other languages, fam. And we don't need to know about other lands to understand that other lands were part of the hijack. Alright? So, we're gonna carry on, right? Now we're gonna dig on Waw. Waw itself is another letter, right? It's another letter. So when we're dealing on Waw, we're really just speaking the letter, right? We're just saying what? A-B, right? Without really saying A-B, we're just saying Hawa, right? Hawa, right? Shout out to my fan. Just let it sit in for a bit, fam. You know? And this is just no disrespect, no nothing to anybody. This is just simply for informative purposes. For those who, you know, surfing the wave. Because when you're surfing the wave, it's a beautiful thing. Alright, so here we have the Arabic Waw, right? Now it says, I'm sorry, before we go there, it says Waw's the hook. Right? Waw's the hook. So let's just do some digging, you know. Shout out to Let Us Find the Truth, right? Putting us up on, you know, continue to keep our resources geared and fresh. Now, I don't know about you, but, you know, I kind of like this etymology online thing, you know. I don't take it to heart, but I use their words against themselves. Right? So, when we're digging on etymology, we dig on it because we want the facts of the origin and the development of the word. Right? We want the analysis of the word to find its true origin, right? We properly want to study the true sense of a word, right? The study of, speaking of, right? The true sense, right? The true, real, actual. This is what we're doing this for, right? Now, by all means, if there's a pure language out there that somebody has access to that's non-hijack free, that requires no digging and spitting out the bones, let me know if you're willing to share. But see, you know, these days, we weren't going to be so fortunate if we, you know, relied on man. So what did the Most High tell us? Let's dig, right? Let's dig, fam. Zephaniah 3:9, right? Zephaniah 3:9. For then I will turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Most High, to serve him with one accord. For then I will turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Most High. Hawa, Hawa, to serve him with one consent. Right? When we saying Hawa, right? We're talking about two letters, right? And when we dig on etymology, we dig for the true, real, and actual meaning of a word, right? So it told us that Waw meant hook, right? Hook, right? It says hook, specifically meaning to catch a fish with a hook, right? To fasten with hooks, right? To catch by artifice, right? Make rugs with a hook, right? Bent or angled piece of metal or other substance used to catch or hold something. Hook, angle, alright? But you see right here it says what? Haka. And the word haka means bolt. Y'all see that? So here within the English, we're starting to get what? That Hebraic language, right? That ha, right? Now it said what? That the wa meant hook, right? So haka, right? Bolt. Bolt, right? Short, stout arrow with heavy head. Also crossbow for throwing bolts, right? To knock, to strike. Bolt. Right? Also in the verb form in its various senses, from crossbow arrows, quick flight, comes to the meaning to spring, to make a quick start. Right? The notion of runaway horses, this came to mean to leave suddenly. Right? To secure by means a bolt. Right? So we're talking about action. Right? See how it says Dutch and it says the haak, right? Gave us hook, angle, corner, and cape, right? Again, this is just from Wa, right? hook. So we're digging on hook, right? Hook says to cape. Now I dropped this in the cape or neck, right? I really was trying to be, you know, a nerd, and I was really saying Kaepernick, right? But I put in cape or neck. So if y'all haven't seen that drop, go ahead and catch that, right? I dig on this cape, right? But we're gonna go ahead and show y'all anyway since y'all here, right? Cape. Cape meaning hooded cloak, right? The sleeveless cloak, right? From the earlier usage of the Middle French, right? It means head, right? It means the headland or head. Alright, so Wa being a hook, right? If hook means cape, right? Then we're talking about the head. Now, what does that make you think of? Alright. Wa is also the sixth letter in the Shemitic alphabets. Alright. And it gave way to represent what would be V and the vowels of U and O. And its origin is of the F of the Greek and the Y, and of the Latin F and V, which we get the Roman alphabets U, Y, and W. I'm sorry, U, W, and Y. Alright? Now, in the Arabic use of Wa, right? It is used several ways depending on its position in the word, right? Now, as we can see, it's a difference between the Arabic usage and function and between the Hebrew, all right? So since I'm not interested in the Arabic, I'm not going to, you know, spend my time there. When we deal with the Hebrew form of Wa, which is different, right? It carries its own meaning, right? We're dealing with it in several forms. It says in modern Hebrew, the frequency usage of Wa out of all letters is about 10%. So they don't even use Wa, fam. They don't even use it. So what is that telling you? Right? It says Wa as a consonant. Consonantal Wa generally represents the voice fricative labidental fricative like English V and Ashkenazi. So they use it in Ashkenazi the way that they want. Now let's check this out, right? It says modern Hebrew has no standardized way to distinguish orthographically between V and the W. The pronunciation is determined by prior knowledge, or must be derived through context. I mean, they're telling y'all, fam, you gotta know this beforehand. So we're dealing with what? The ancient, right? And Ha is the breath, right? And Wa is the feather. So we just continue to say what? Hawa. Because we know what we're talking about, right? And I understand, you know, sometimes, you know, we don't understand everything properly at first. That's why it takes time. Alright, fam? So, as you can see, when they use this matter lectionist, right, it's using the vowel point system, right, which is where you get this breakdown of these different ways, right, that they use, right? So all of this is hijacked, right? All of that is hijacked, right? It says words written as wa, right? Wa at the beginning of a word has several possible meanings. Wa the conjunctive, right? So this is why you have to study, because there's rules and functions to every language, right? That deals with the true rules and origins to its actual functioning, right? Especially when it comes to the description of such. So to truly understand, you know, whatever you want to use, you have to seriously embrace yourself into it. Now, wa, right, means simply joining or bringing together when you put it in front of something. In its Hebrew form, fam, it just means connecting two parts, right? It means and, right, which is the most common usage. It says wa as a consecutive, right? It would mean an inversion, right? It says mainly biblically commonly mistaken for the previous type of wa. It indicates consequence of actions and reverses the tense of the verb following it. All right. For an example, when placed in front of a verb in the imperfect tense, it changes the verb to the perfect tense. For example, Yomar means he will say. So the Hawa in he will say is what? Will. Right? And then they say that the Vayumar means he said. When placed in front of a verb in the perfect, it changes the verb to the imperfect sense. For example, awata, that's what it would say. Awata means you loved, right? And they awata means you will love. It's the action, right? Hawa. Are you in the action? Are you in the moment of being? Apart from criticizing and feeling some kind of way, right? Are you in the moment of being? Is the Ruach there with you as you uncover these things? All these things we must be made sure of before we conduct studies, fam. Right? So, we saw that there, right? Now, I want to take y'all a little bit more before we close on out with this link, and I'm gonna leave it again for you guys in the description box. And we're gonna hop down here, right? So we can get a better perspective real quick. I'm trying to get to a certain page. Bear with me for a bit. Hope everybody's doing well. Much Ha to everybody. Like I said, I wasn't planning on doing this drop, but you know, hey, I'm talking to y'all, we're getting to it. You know, I hope everybody's doing well, fam. And I'll still go ahead and, you know, continue working on the drop that I was going to present, and I'll go ahead and release it if y'all not tired of me. Alright. We almost there with what I'm looking for. Alright. So here we are, right? It says, my fault. It says, hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that goeth out of his mouth, being explained as that which go out of his mouth, right? It is likewise found in the verb Hawa, to be, to exist. It was represented in hieroglyphs by a picture of nostrils. Hawa, a picture of nostrils, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, fam, but I got the picture of the emoji, right? With him breathing through his nose, right? Hawa, right? Are they trying to tell us something? Ancient hieroglyphs, eh? It says, Ha, the breath, hence its ideal meanings. Nostrils, breath, life, living creature. Waw was the hook, literally wing or feather. Now tell me why they would have Ha and Waw together, fam. Now, you know, I have nothing against Haya or Hawa. You know, I'm not here to tell you one or the other. I'm just showing you information so you can dig, right? Because I saw something today, right? And in case you saw it too, this is for you. This is for my fam, alright? This is my notes, my 2 cents. Alright? It says, Waw was the hook, or literally wing or feather, on which the curtains of the tabernacle were hung. It was so called from being in shape like a feather, the hieroglyphic of this letter. We find it in its primitive sense in the verb ha, right? Or ha in Job. So let's dig on this Job, right? Let's see what they're talking about, right? Job 37 verse 6. For he saith to snow, be thou on the earth, likewise to the small, rain, and to the great, rain of his strength. B. Strong Concordance 1933, Hawa. Hawa, primitive root. Compare H 183 and H 1961. Supposed to mean properly to breathe, to be, in the sense of existence. Hawa. Right? Hawa, right? And that's without no aggression, fam. Because when you say, hey, yeah, right? That yeah still has that aggression to it, right? That yeah. You make the sound to yourself and see the formation your teeth makes when you say it. Right? For it saith to the snow, be. Hawa. Hawa, right? Supposed to mean properly to breathe, right? For he says to the snow, feather, be as feathers over the earth, right? In 2 places where the verb Hawa occurs. Hawa, right? Hawa occurs. It borrows from its meaning. It borrows its meaning from the metaphor of a bird in Genesis and in Isaiah, right? So let's check that out. Genesis 27:29, right? Says, let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be most high over thy brethren. Oh, I'm sorry. Be Lord, right? Be Lord over thy brethren, right? And let thy mother's son bow down to thee, curse. Be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesses thee. Alright? And we have B again, right? H 1933. Hawa, right? Now, this is in scripture for the second time, right? In a row. To be, right? And it said the next one was where? Isaiah, right? Isaiah 16, chapter 4. 16, verse 4, right? It says, let mine outcast dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler. For the extortioner is at an end. The spoiler ceases, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. You think they randomly just chose to use Hawa for no reason? Considering the weight in this scripture alone, let mine outcast dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler, for the extortioner is at an end. The spoiler ceases, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. Hawa, right? So those are three scriptures in a row, fam, that dealt with no perversion, right? Nothing to mean wickedness or anything of the sort. Nothing to do with a woman or anything of the sort, right? Nothing. Nothing. So, yeah, fam. I advise everybody to dig into that ancient, right? As much as they can. I'm gonna leave this in the description box for y'all. And, yeah, I hope the fam found this, informative. Again, this is just to sharpen, all my Autochtons out there, right? And again, nobody told me to do this, fam. I just decided to talk to y'all, alright? So, much Ha to everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Much love to all my examples out there, you know what I'm saying? Continue on, and, to all my big bros. Know that, you got a nation, that's looking up to y'all. And we appreciate the work you guys continue to put in. And, yeah, we're all trying to learn. We're all trying to connect to the Most High in the most purest way. And, this is just my 2 cents. This was just my notes, my evidence presented to the tribe. I can firmly attest, I sent out a few emails here and there, I talked to a few peeps on this spot and this spot, but, nothing in the face, fam. Nothing in person, fam. This is all vibration. This is all pure water. This is all the Most High. Waw, Ha. Whatever is your frequency. Both is freely for you to choose up. I just gave you the clarity. Especially when we're digging on this ancient, this paleo. From the remnant of the paleo Autochthon. Alright? This is for my fam. I hope y'all doing well. I'm gonna get at y'all soon. If y'all not tired of me, there'll be some more dropping, alright? Y'all continue to have a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and catch up on the fans' videos, and yeah, I'll be getting at y'all soon. Alright, Shalom, much ha.